Hi, Mike from Mike's Carburetor Parts. I'm working on a rebuild for a marine carburetor. This is a marine Mercarb 2-barrel carburetor, and I did a previous video on disassembly. Now we're getting ready to put it back together. Now I generally take the throttle body apart because I want to make sure everything gets clean. And since it's a marine, that's probably a pretty good idea to do, because you may get corrosion, especially if you happen to be in the salt water. You get corrosion around the throttle shaft. However, keep in mind that these screws break very easily. You can see they're really small. Least amount of pressure you broke. In fact, I broke one on this and had to drill it out and tap it. So be prepared for that. If you don't think you can handle that, I would leave it alone. If everything moves good and you got it real clean in there, you might be better off leaving it alone. But anyhow, like I say, I take them apart. And now I marked mine. I put a little scratch on them so that I know which one goes where and which side, etc. And so I know that this one should go in here. There we go. Okay. So I put a little scratch on the inside and right here. So both of them I scratched on the inside. Anyway, it's important to get them back in the same place. You want to get a good seal, and if you get them backwards or something, it might not seal around here. And anytime you have a crack around here, an opening, you're going to get possibly a high RPM idle that you can't settle down. It's just the same as having a vacuum leak. Oh, by the way, when you go to take these out, the first thing you got to do, you can see my grind marks here, you grind these things down flat. The ends of them, they get at the factory, they mushroom them so they don't fall out. And so I grind them down nice and flat, and then they come out pretty easy. Just take your time. That's really important part. Otherwise, like I say, they're so easy to break. I put a little Loctite on it. We don't want the screws to fall out. You can also, if you wish, you can after you get it in there, go back there with a punch, drift punch, and mushroom the ends out. Had to get something to line up the hole here. Okay, so I had to go find the right screws. Screws I had didn't work. And what I'm putting in here are size 4-40s. Now, as I tighten these, the other thing I do is, hit it a few times. You really want these things to seal good, the best you can anyway. So you want to make sure they're centered. Sometimes the holes are oblong a little bit and they can move around, and you can actually get them tight and end up with a gap. So I also, with my finger, I'm holding it tight against the wall of the carburetor while I tighten it down. Okay. Again, be careful you don't strip them, or break them rather. Okay, so there we go. So let me get the other one in here. Like I say, don't forget to put a little Loctite on it. You don't want these falling in an engine. Alright, so now that we got that done, we're going to get our throttle body to float bowl gasket. And I like to spray, let's see, I use the silicone lubricant, and I got this at Ace Hardware, but I spray the gaskets with this, and what that does, brings them back to life. Also keeps them from sticking so much, so if you have to take it back apart, you won't tear your gasket up. Alright, so okay, make sure you got your gasket on right, you're not covering any holes. Got a little sticking over the edge here, but it doesn't matter. You can see air is not going to get in it. And so we'll get our go put it on this way, just like that. Okay, like so. My 3 screws. Alright, check it out, make sure something didn't get in between that. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to start putting the float bowl together. Alright, first thing we'll do is put the main jets in there. I got these clean. You don't necessarily really need to change your jets. They don't particularly wear out. Sorry, I had to go get my screwdriver. Get as wide a screwdriver as you can get on your jets to fit across them so you don't chip them. And not that a chip would hurt the flow any. What you don't want is the chips getting inside your carburetor after you got it all nice and clean. If you're in doubt, it wouldn't hurt if you take it over now after you get these in and blow through there to make sure, because it all comes out of here, and if you blow through it now, if there's any chips in there, you can get it out before you put it together. Alright, so we're going to put in the power, forgot what you call stupid things all of a sudden, power jet or whatever it is. You get a new one in the kit, which is really nice. This doesn't happen in automotive kits these days, but this particular marine kit is pretty complete, everything you'll need. Be sure to put a gasket on it, and it goes down in this hole right down here. Here's the old one. I actually got it cleaned up, but I'll get that tight before I start talking. Okay, and what happens is in the top of your float bowl there's a spring arm. The power piston comes down, and by default when you're idling it's pulled up. The vacuum, you got high vacuum in the engine, the highest you'll have at idle, and it actually pulls that stem up. And so this stem is pulled up and it's closed. Now as you accelerate, you lose vacuum in your engine, and this thing will slowly push down, eventually pushing down on this stem and allowing fuel, more fuel to flow into the from the float bowl out to the venturi, and that gives you more. And that's why they call it the power jet, because that power you get more fuel, and that's what that's all about. Anyhow, we got that in. Now we're going to do the accelerator pump well, and there is a check ball that goes in it, and you got two check balls in this carburetor, and I believe one looks like it's aluminum. That's in this little bag right here, and that's the one we want in the excuse me, it sure looks aluminum. A lot of times they are, and okay, I can find out if it sticks to my, yeah, that's aluminum. Okay, so you take your aluminum one, and that's the one that goes down your accelerator pump well. Alright, just fits down in the hole there. I hope you can see it. The next thing we'll do is we'll put our screen in there. Now there are ways to test this. Let's see, I'm thinking yeah, I think I'll test it after I put the screen in. This screen goes down in the bottom of there. It just happened to fall nice and flat, and that keeps the crud out, and then we got this little clip that goes right on top of it. And of course I don't have my needle nose here. I'm always so prepared in these videos. Okay, and so we just have to get it down there at the bottom, hold all that in there. Now the reason that check ball is aluminum is because it's light, and when you got fuel, it's going to go into here, in this hole here, to fill up this accelerator pump well, and just the weight of the fuel is going to push that ball up. So they made aluminum to make it nice and light. Okay, there of course is a special tool for putting this clip in, but I try not to use that stuff when I'm doing these videos, because obviously you're not going to have all these tools, but you might find something about as big as around as this hole socket. There we go, and push it down that way. Alright, so anyhow, the clip is in there. That's going to hold it all together, and in a minute we're going to make sure it works. Alright, I'm going to take a little time here and show you how I test these check balls, because they need to seat, and sometimes if they don't seat, keep the fluid in or out, whichever they have to do, you can tap on them with a brass drift punch and a hammer and tap them a little bit, but you don't want to do that unless you have to. You can get them stuck in there. So I always test first, and if everything works fine, then it's not a problem. So what I do is, now I happen to be using mineral spirits here for some testing, and I just put it some in the bowl, and I see it's already filling up the accelerator pump, and that's what you want it to do. So basically just the pressure of this fluid, just the weight of the fluid is pushing that ball up enough to fill up the pump. Okay, so we got a little bit of fluid in there. Here it is. I'm looking for the accelerator pump. And I'm just going to do it by hand. Now you can see it's already, see how it pushed it. Right here is your main discharge right there, and when you push down accelerator pump, it's going to push fluid through there, so which it is, so that's not blocked, and we got some fluid in here, so it's filling up, so we're good there. So we're not going to have to mess with this check ball. What we did is just fine. If it's not putting any fluid in here, you're not getting fluid, you got something blocked there, or the check ball's too tight or something, you get it out and clean it some more. Okay, so the other check ball now goes in the main discharge, and it's the hard stainless steel one, and it goes into this one. This is your main discharge, and this is where the T went, if you remember taking the T out, and you got a little slot here for the T. And so I'm going to get it in there, just like that. Now we already exercise it, and we know the fluid is going to come out okay. Now what we want to know is if it's going to keep the fluid in, if it's going to seal. And to do that, I'm just going to I got to find something to hold it down. I didn't want to get anything too pointy. Okay, just gently I'm going to hold it down and put the accelerator pump in there. And I don't know if you can see, but it's not pumping any fluid. Whoop, I let up on it. If it pumps fluid out through it as you hold it down, then you're going to need to seat this ball. And what you do is just like I say, take a brass drift punch in there and you know, tap it a few times with the hammer, not real hard, and that'll help seat it. But chances are you won't have to mess with it. But there you go. So we got the check ball in there. Our tests are good, and since we have this started on there, let's get this part, this main discharge finished up here. And then I'll get rid of this fluid. Now I don't use gasoline to test with. It's kind of dangerous, and it stinks to high heaven. So I use this mineral spirits, odor-free. Okay, so you've got the check ball in there. We're putting the spring in on top of it, and then our little T goes right on the top there, and it's going to fit into that little slot there. And usually that's all I have to do is tap it down, and all you want to do is stay there. If it tends to come up and down too easy, just get you a little hammer and chisel and peen it over a little bit to hold it down. But that's just fine. Once you get everything else on there, we're going to be good to go there anyway. Alright, so let's get our gasket in here. Okay. Now on this, you want to make sure you got all these little holes in here. You don't want to use wires if you can help it. You want to make sure they're real clean, and you know, blow them out good, and if you have to use your mouth. But here's your two little discharges where the fuel's going to come out when you hit your accelerator pump, and they're very small holes, so be sure they're real good and clean. So there we go. Put it like so, and there we go with that part. Now I'm gonna empty out this fluid before I continue on. Okay, continuing on here, we're gonna put this in here. Got our gasket on there. Okay, so we got 3 screws. One of them shorter than the other 2. It goes in the middle. The 2 longer ones out here, of course. There is a little fiber washer that fits on here. You want to put that on here. Reason for that is you have fuel coming up through here in order for it to go out here to the main discharge, and so this has to seal, otherwise you'll have fuel leaking around the top here, and that isn't where you want it to come out. Well, alright, so there you go. So the other thing I did, I put the new accelerator pump, which already comes with a spring here, on the swivel here, and it's got a little clip, comes in your kit, clips on. Got a little washer in between here. I think that's just to take up some of this, well, not the side plate, I guess just keep the washer in one place. But there you go with that. Okay, we're going to put the top together. First of all, the needle and seat. Here's the seat, and we're going to put one of the aluminum washers on it. Again, you want to get a screwdriver with a nice wide blade to cover as much as the top as you can, so you don't chip cause chips to go down into the seat. And it's not unusual to rebuild your carburetor, put it all together and have it start flooding out because you have junk in your gas tank or in your needle or in your line here, and then it gets back in your needle and seat and it starts flooding it again. Now, the kit comes with two different needle and seats, and one of them is spring loaded and one of them isn't. So we start out with you got this part here, and the difference is you got the solid shaft and you got this spring loaded one here. You always start out with the solid one, but apparently there's a problem with the Mercruisers possibly flooding out when it's idling. Here's the catch-22. Assuming that everything else is okay, everything was set right, everything's perfect, and you're flooding out at idle, it could be the needle and seat. And in those cases, you're going to have to take it apart again and put the spring-loaded one in there. Now you say, why not just start with the spring-loaded one? Now, I'm getting this right from the instruction sheet, by the way. You can read the same thing, but if you're like me, don't read instructions very well, you might listen to this. Anyway, using the spring-loaded may cause a lean-out condition on hard turns, which means you do a hard right turn or left turn, it's not going to get enough fuel. So and it's something you may have to put up with. So as I said, start out with the solid one first. If you don't have any flood out condition in the idle, then you're done. Okay? Alright, so enough of that. Now I gotta fetch a float for it. Okay, these things have a nitrofill float. They're black nitrofill, and over time these things will absorb fuel. So whenever I rebuild one of these, I automatically replace the float. You want to have some weird problems, have one of these that's been contaminated with fuel, and you'll figure out what I mean. So anyway, it just isn't worth messing with. They don't cost that much. So I highly recommend always replacing these nitrofills. They don't make a brass one that I know of for this carburetor. They'll make nitrofills until they can't sell enough of them, and then they'll discontinue these. But this is what we have to work with. So at any rate, like I say, okay, I'm doing some of this video over because I forgot a piece, and I want to get you the benefit of doing the sequence. You got to put this little shield right here, and then the float, and our pin. Excuse me. Put the gasket on first. Alright, there we go. So, again on the adjustment, we've got 3/8 from the top of the gasket to the toe. At least on the solid needle. It's a little different on the spring, but you have the specs in the sheet. Float drop from here to the toe, from the same place to the toe, and that's your float drop. Okay, and it's just about level. Okay, float drop, you bend this. Float level, you bend this little lip right here. Alright, so now we got all that. We're going to get the accelerator pump together here, and it will go like this. These kind of only go one way because they're got a flat spot on the arm there. Okay, so there you go. Make sure it's on the arm good. There we go. And then we tighten it up. Okay, there we go. So that's what it will look like. Okay, that looks like just right around there. Okay, you can see that this is just about centered in there. Okay, we're going to put in the vacuum piston here, and as I mentioned once before, this is what controls your power valve down here. It's all controlled by vacuum. So saying that, you want this really clean, and get you a brush or something, clean that hole out real good, because you want this to move up and down without any problem at all. You don't want it to stick, okay? And over time they do tend to start sticking. So if you took yours out, and if you did, be very careful messing with these, because if you break it, you get to buy another carburetor. And so I put it in there and get me a little chisel here and just stake the side a little. Okay. Up. So that's in there. Okay. Kind of presses down in there. And we just want to stake it enough to keep it in there. Ah, I think I'd never done this before. Okay, it's not going anywhere. Remember, you may have to take it out again, so don't go get overzealous on it. Alright, so we're going to get the float back on here. First we got to put this little shield. Okay, and get our gasket on here. Our float. Okay, got the pin in there. Make sure it's out of the way of that top when we put it on. Alright, so in the float level, float level we measured from the gasket up to the toe, and on this one it happens to be 3/8, so you're going to measure from here to here, and that should be about 3/8 at least with this needle and seat that we use. The spring-loaded needle and seat's got a different measurement, but that's what your assembly instructions are for. And then you got your float drop. This one's okay, I can't remember exactly what it is, but same thing, measure from the gasket down to the toe here. Alright, so got the float on, everything's ready. We're going to put the two halves together. Before I do that, you don't forget your return spring for your accelerator pump. Goes right in there. And be careful of your accelerator pump. Be sure you don't want it to roll the rubber as you put it in. Okay, so we'll get our screws in here. Got one long one that goes right there. And there's a sequence to tightening this, which is illustrated on your instruction sheet. I'll just go around and get them close. And basically you tighten it from the inside out. Okay. So we got that. Next thing, let's get the choke. Now this is an integral choke, as they call it, because it's part of the carburetor. Yours may be what's called a divorce choke, where the choke goes in the manifold. I don't recall if all the Mercarbs are integral, or if, I think some are divorced. Got your gasket that goes on here. And that's important because you got a little vacuum that comes out through here. It goes right through this hole right here, and that helps draw the hot air up into the choke. Of course, now this one happens to be an electric choke, so, but that's what that's for. Now this one was missing a screw, so I'm not going to actually finish it yet, and want to see what the problem is there. But anyway, that's how that goes on. This is just to show how it all goes together. Alright, we'll put the fast idle cam on here, and let's see, it hooks, let's see, feel my way along here. I can't remember exactly which way this goes. This will go over this way. Okay, I believe that's right. So you put this on and get it. Okay, we're going to get this thing finished up. We're going to put the fast idle cam on it here, and first of all, I put the linkage in here like this. Got it started. It goes on like that, and this goes in here. You have to kind of fish it in, get the little tab in there, and then turn it down. It goes in between these two levers right here. Turn up like that so you can see it, and then we got our special screw. Goes in right there. And there we go. So that's a fast idle cam, and which I don't have screwed down right. You know, when you're doing the video, you do everything a little different, and it kind of messes me up. All right, so here's what we have here. We got the choke that's open, and this naturally falls down just by its weight, and it's on the low point of your idle screw here. When the choke closes, you see how it turns this up, and it gets on the high side and opens the throttle just a little bit. So that's how your fast idle cam works. You want to make sure your choke lip is not sticking, which this one is, but I've got a choke problem on it. There's some parts missing, and but I just want to get this video done for you. There's also the the accelerator pump linkage that goes from here to here, which this one is missing. I got it with a missing part, and I got to find another one, but Anyway, you get the idea. And there's a couple of adjustments here. There's adjustment for the choke and adjustment for here, which is plainly illustrated on the instruction sheet. So I will do a separate video on putting the electric choke on this. And of course, don't forget your filter. I'm not a big fan of these little wire filters. I think it was my boat I'd be putting a filter on between the pump and the carburetor. Anyhow, don't forget you've got your little metal gasket for that, and it simply goes in right here. Now if you get a leak around here, you can put like a liquid Teflon. Don't use Teflon tape, because I find those in the needle and seat all the time, pieces of it. Just put very little bit of Teflon on there so it doesn't get any in the inside. That's liquid Teflon, that is. And that'll help seal that if you need it. And so that pretty much covers it. You know, the kit comes with this gasket that goes right here between your air cleaner and your carburetor, but from what I understand, the Coast Guard suggests you don't use it because they tend to absorb fuel, and they become a fire hazard, so you just leave it off. And our kit comes with the new flange gasket, which you will need, and so you should be pretty much ready to go. And I hope that helps you get yours together. Like I say, I will do the choke and how to set it at a later video once I get all the parts together for this one. Anyhow, thank you for watching my videos.